Susan, this is a case that has a lot of political ramifications as well, because Donald Trump and his legal team, they say that this is a clear case of a political witch hunt. Now, this is the case of payments that is essentially hush money that was paid to Stormy Daniels, a porn actress. This happened before the 2016 presidential bid of Donald Trump. Stormy Daniels claims that she had an affair with the president back in 2006, and Donald Trump, through his aide, had paid her a sum of $130,000. Now, looking at this case, as you know, the charges are not clear, the charges are not known. We'll of course get to know what the charges are, but legally speaking, you know, what is Donald Trump's legal team saying about this case? Does this case have any merit, or is this just political witch hunt that Donald Trump is subjected to?
Well, there are a couple of issues that make this very political. One of them is the statute of limitations, which is usually 2 years when it comes to cases like this. This is a 7-year-old case that's been resurrected. On the other hand, you know, it's something that his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, has already admitted to. And then, you know, then it's that misdemeanor charge that we talk about, giving hush money, that's trying to be bumped up to campaign financing cases. And that's something that has never done before, according to legal experts. So it's sort of, this is a case that's being Frankenstein. And I think one of the reasons that you see many people, not just Donald Trump and his lawyers, and not just the Republicans, but many thinking that this is political, is because it's such a flimsy case that federal prosecutors decided to not really go near it. Alvin Bragg himself decided not to prosecute it. His predecessor decided not to prosecute it either. And then ultimately, it sort of came out of nowhere. So they're calling it flimsy, to say the least. We'll have to wait and see what those felony charges are that the media has been reporting. You know, there's at least one felony charge. But, you know, maybe Alvin Bragg did find something that's bigger than anyone had anticipated, although it's very unlikely. So that's where the politics of it comes in. And then, you know, the question really remains, if it wasn't Donald Trump, would any other individual be tried in the court of law regarding a misdemeanor like hush money payments?
Absolutely, indeed. And also, you know, tell us a bit about how the Democrat camp is looking at it, because the Republicans are all out. They're saying that this is a clear case of a political witch hunt because Donald Trump is going to be in the running for the 2024 presidency again. And the Republicans say that this is something that the Democrats are indulging in to try and derail his political future. You know, what are the Democrats saying about this, you know, almost surreal moment of a former president, you know, being criminally indicted?
Yeah, well, on the one hand, you know, you can expect really that many on the left are rejoicing, but on the other hand, you keep continuously hearing that, quote unquote, no one against is above the law. So that's something that they try to say. They're trying to say that this is a former president that regardless of his position should be tried on the one hand. And then there are others who, you know, have personal animosity with the former president who want to see this president really not be the front runner. But I will say, for those that are hoping that former President Trump, the Democrats, I mean, does become the Republican candidate, what they are hoping is that he becomes the nominee, he becomes the candidate, he runs against a Democrat, but ultimately he'll be so bogged down with these charges that he won't really have time to campaign.
Right.
And so I think that's what basically some Democrats, at least that plan to run against him, are hoping will happen.
Absolutely, indeed. And also, Susan, we know for a fact that you are in a very, very noisy place. We just heard a bit of commotion in the background. And this, of course, is the big headline at this moment. Donald Trump, by virtue of walking into the Manhattan court as he was required to do by procedure, he, on technical grounds, stands arrested. He's presently in police custody before his upcoming arraignment, which we're given to understand should happen in some time from now. Now, as per procedure, Donald Trump is expected to be fingerprinted as part of the arrest, although it is still unclear whether his mugshot will be taken. and he'll then be taken to the courtroom where he'll be arraigned, which is effectively an appearance that is expected to be pretty quick and routine, but represents almost an unprecedented moment in American history of either a sitting or a former president being criminally charged. Now, these are scenes from near the entrance of the Manhattan court complex that we're talking about, and you can look at the level of interest that this particular case is garnered. This is a sensational case. This has been dubbed as a case of a president and a porn star, and this is the legal tangle. The beginning of Donald Trump's legal trouble is how the Democrats have put it, but it still remains to be seen as to what the charges are against Donald Trump. Now, Stormy Daniels claims that she was paid a sum of $130,000 US by one of the aides of Donald Trump, Michael Cohen, and this happened sometime before the 2016 presidential run of Donald Trump, for her to stay silent about an affair that she claims that she had back in 2006. Now, is this the only case that of course, is something that Donald Trump will be charged with? We still do not know. But this of course, is the big headline in which Donald Trump faces legal trouble. And it's still not clear, and it's pretty baffling for people who are watching from outside the United States of America, that although Donald Trump stands indicted, we still do not know what the charges are for which Donald Trump has been indicted, because one would expect that as soon as an indictment is made, the charges are made clear and everyone gets to know as to why a person has been indicted for. But the charges at this moment are still in a sealed cover. And once Donald Trump, of course, appears in the courtroom, we're given to understand that as a matter of procedure, the judge will read out the charges that are likely to be leveled, that will be leveled against Donald Trump. And that is when the public at large will become aware of the charges for which the former president of the United States of America has been charged with. And Susan, if I can bring you in on this, this is something that a lot of people have been talking about. We still don't know what the charges are. Till the moment the judge stands up in the courtroom and reads out the charges, we still don't know. And it's all a matter of speculation.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Mohammed, although we don't know what the charges are, how opinionated everyone has been regarding this indictment. It hasn't been unsealed yet, but everyone really does have an opinion and has formed an opinion. And it really shows where America stands right now. I know that we've been seeing images of not only in front of the courtroom, but protesters and supporters of the former president gathering in front of the park, and then counter-protesters as well. And what the police did was they put barricades between Trump supporters and then those who oppose Trump. So, the two sides don't get into some kind of physical fight. They said the only way to separate these two is to have physical barricades. And the reason I'm bringing this up is really it's a snapshot of where America stands right now, despite the fact that we don't know where these what these charges are. So divided, so divisive right now on what should happen to Donald Trump. And it's just fascinating. We still, it's a time when we don't know if it's a felony, we don't know if it's a misdemeanor or not, but people have already drawn their own conclusions.
Indeed. And also, Susan, we are seeing visuals from this at the moment. We are seeing glimpses of what's happening, I think, just at the entrance of the courtroom. This is what the scene looks like. But on the outside of the Manhattan court, give us a sense of what the atmosphere is like. How many people have gathered? Because Donald Trump had been telling his supporters that he could be arrested, and now he has been arrested, and he'd been asking his protest supporters to, in fact, hit the streets to prevent his arrest from happening. So how many people have, in fact, turned up near Manhattan?
It's interesting. The people that have the posters and placards in hand can maybe be summed up to 100 on each side, maybe 150 on those that support Donald Trump and those who oppose Donald Trump. But then you really have this media frenzy, and then you have onlookers that are just so fascinated by something like this that they're just standing around. So they're neither nor. So it's a very crowded atmosphere outside of the courtroom. But when it comes to Donald Trump really calling on his supporters to come out and protest, you really don't see that level of at least physical footprint outside of the courtroom that perhaps either the NYPD anticipated or Donald Trump himself anticipated. The numbers really aren't that large. It doesn't mean that they're not loud. It's a fairly small part, but it really is. It doesn't pass 100, 150 at the most, and that's again on both sides. We did have Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene come earlier. She called on supporters of Donald Trump in the morning to come and protest and join her. But even then, she came and went. It was pretty peaceful. And again, there were so many more cameras surrounding her than regular people.
That's absolutely the case, Susan, as you correctly pointed out, because this is also, just goes to show how deeply divided America is politically. And Donald Trump, as he entered into the courthouse, did not speak, did not make a statement. The former president posted on Truth Social as he was en route to the Manhattan District Attorney's office and courthouse ahead of his arraignment. He wrote, "Heading to Lower Manhattan, the courthouse seems so surreal. Wow, they're going to arrest me. Can't believe that this is happening in America. Make America great again." This was the post that Donald Trump put out on his Truth Social account. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.